Today we're going to be testing out the new TaylorMade Qi35 Driver. Is this going to live up to the hype, or is it another marketing masterpiece from TaylorMade Golf? Welcome back to the channel, great to have you along again guys. Super excited to try the TaylorMade Qi35 out today. Highly anticipated driver in the 2025 driver releases. One of the first out of the gate really in 2025. So we've had Cobra and we've had Strixon, which have landed already. TaylorMade, probably the first of the big guys to come back out. So if you look at market share in the golf industry, you've got, in no particular order, Callaway, Ping, TaylorMade and Titleist. Fundamentally, them four organisations have the biggest market share, and three of the four manufacturers that we just named there are releasing new drivers this year. Last year, Titleist brought out the Titleist GT, which has been a really impressive driver so far, but interested to see how the Qi35 matches up. So what's the tech story behind the Qi35 compared to the Qi10? What's changed, what's different, and how is that going to benefit you as a golfer? Firstly, it's lighter. Weight's been extrapolated out of the head, either through the face or the construct of the head. Fundamentally, that means that if it's lighter, all things being equal, that's going to allow you to transport the club quicker, create more speed, more energy, which will then lead into more ball speed, more total distance, more carry distance. CG has been lowered in the range, making it easier for you to enhance your launch conditions, whether that's initial launch or peak height. The MOR in the lineup, the moment of inertia, is incredibly high, and that's been underpinned by the new weighting system. Now got set weight ports where weight can be moved. Some quite beefy weight in terms of a 13 gram to a 3, so that 10 gram difference can really shift where centre of gravity is. Weight capability around the back of the club, but also in around the face. Because of the big difference in the weighting between the 13 and the 3 gram, this gives you huge capabilities to move mass behind the face. It's going to help you with your striking capabilities, but also for power accumulation purposes. Weight tracker's gone. That was only in the LS version, no longer available in the Qi35. As ever, TaylorMade have been super innovative in terms of the design of this club. And one of the key features in terms of from our end as the fitters is that they've incorporated 6 dots on the face there. This is one of our fitting heads. Those dots interact with our fitting technology, so something like a launch monitor, and help us better understand your impact conditions. This is going to be a really versatile, usable driver that's not going to be that difficult to use. Looking at the range, we've got 4 different driver heads. Anything from we've got an LS, we've got a standard, we've got a max, and we've got a light. So this is not an uncommon theme. So say for example, recently we've just done the DS Adapt, Cobra Adapt. That was the same kind of family almost, where it had 4 heads, maybe slightly different. The light was replaced from maybe like a draw version. With this, you have got the option to change face angle through the loft sleeve, whereas the DS Adapt had slightly more organic offset with their driver, maybe slightly less so with this one. But this seems to be a bit of a common theme in terms of the families that you're going to see this year. 4 driver heads, all offering something different. As for first impressions, it's a pretty good looking driver this, isn't it really? If you look at it, very slick, very clean look. That's the LS version there, but essentially it embodies the same carbon crown, dark look, very much matte finish, isn't it? Really good looking head. As a first impression, this looks pretty decent, doesn't it? It looks a good looking head. The light is slightly lighter finish. I don't know if you can kind of see that from there. Slightly lighter finish. It's a stunning looking driver. Necessarily been the biggest fan of the look of recent TaylorMade drivers in terms of footprint nor kind of colour scheme. I think also as well, last couple of drivers in terms of, it's obviously all the situational driver fitting, isn't it, in terms of getting the right piece of equipment. Found certain models of recent TaylorMade drivers have been pretty good. We've also found some of them, maybe the standard versions or maybe the max versions, have launched it quite high, spun it quite high. For us, we've found with those previous couple of models where ball speeds, carry distances, total distances have been maybe a bit lower compared to some of the other counterparts in the market in terms of the other manufacturers. But if we're just purely going off looks here, which I think we all love a good looking golf club, right? This looks really slick, looks really clean. Certainly nothing to put me off in terms of using it. I'm very much open to trying anything, very much open to using anything. I do like to probably see a particular head shape style. TaylorMade are definitely offering that in that. I probably like to see maybe a bit more rounded rather than boxy. But again, going back to my original statement, if something helps me hit it better, just give me it. I'm not bothered what it looks like to a degree. I suppose performance for me always outweighs what the aesthetics in what a club looks like. So LS represents their low spin version, higher COG, different head shape. This head is aerodynamically shaped in a way to reduce drag and friction. Subsequently, that's going to help someone swing it faster, produce higher ball speeds, carry the ball further, have a higher total distance. This head is very much based on trying to maximise ball speed, maximise distance. It is earmarked for players with higher swing speeds, higher spin rates, higher ball flights, a player realistically who hits the ball a wee bit further. Okay, here's a little close-up. So, carbon face, carbon crown, got the speed pocket in the bottom there, and then you can see how the carbon crown is built into the steel frame, which pulls this guy all together here. It really is a beautiful looking club. So it's interesting reading, looking at TaylorMade's schematics of the drivers. Still saying relatively high forgiveness for this driver, which is interesting, not normally the case for an LS driver, so looking forward to putting that to the test. In terms of spin, saying ultra low, so obviously centre of gravity high, going to get that kind of ball moving more forward. Saying launch is going to be low, so that's kind of what we should be seeing in those types of, that type of club. It's a 460cc shape, more traditional shape based on TaylorMade's kind of schematic there. And looking at lofts, it starts from 8, 9, 10.5. The 8 sadly is only in right-handed. The LS head comes with 3 different weight ports, 2 in the front, 1 in the back. Having the higher weight further forward is generally speaking going to lower the ball flight, is going to get it moving more forward. Generally speaking, should probably reduce launch, reduce spin rates, get the ball moving more forward and lower. Moving that weight further back theoretically does the opposite. Probably going to hit it slightly higher, probably going to make it a little bit of a higher peak, high ball flight, potentially a little bit easier to use as well. Weight forward potentially makes it a little bit harder to use. The standard Qi35 head, who's this for? So this is really for the player that is looking for a blend of distance, forgiveness, accuracy. This head is a real all-rounder that helps players really hit long golf shots off the tee, helps them with accuracy in terms of directional control, but also as well in terms of off-centre hits. Standard head optimises CG, which makes it really a driver that's going to help yield good distances, but also going to help it make it super forgiving and actually quite workable. So if you want to try and shave the ball, it's actually going to be quite a good option for you. This driver's got 2 weight ports, 1 in the front, 1 in the back. We've got a 3 gram weight and a 13 gram weight. So subject to how you want to have centre of gravity, if you want to hit it higher or lower, you can move them weight ports back and forward to have some form of tangible influence on the ball flight. A little bit of a different footprint in terms of head shape, isn't it? A little bit longer front to back. Flip it over, we've got the speed pocket. Slightly different kind of weight configuration in terms of where the weight ports are. But again, carbon base knitted into the frame. Good looking head. Nice bit of kit. Centre of gravity in this head is not as high as the LS. Subsequently, ball flight will be a wee bit higher, a wee bit easier to use. The footprint is different. So again, looking at TaylorMade schematic, it's saying that the head shape is like a max head. So when we say max, it's quite boxy, it's quite long front to back. It's a little bit flatter, a little bit more elongated, which is interesting. Saying that spin is now mid to low rather than the low with the LS. Launch is mid, so it's going to launch it a little bit higher than this guy. So not only is it going to spin it a wee bit more, it's going to launch it a little bit higher. And in terms of lofts, we're looking at 9, 10.5, and 12. 12 is only available in right-hander. So next up is the Qi35 Max. This head is very much geared for a player looking for forgiveness and trying to increase height of their ball flight, whether we're looking at initial launch or peak height. This has got the highest MOI head, even more forgiving right across the face, so more hotspots on the face, going to make it super usable on the golf course. and really just giving that golfer that margin for error that they require if they don't really feel like they're going to centre strike. The max head has got low centre of gravity to help get that launch higher initially and at peak height, and is super usable, really easy to use. The footprint of the driver is a little bit longer back to front, so appearance at address looks bigger, but throughout the whole family, they're all 460cc heads. They're all the same size. Ultimately, TaylorMade are just trying to inspire confidence at address. So for the golfer who is concerned about contact, I suppose the bigger they can make that head appear, it's almost a placebo in the sense that they are the same size, the heads, but the way we can shape a driver can make the appearance look very, very different from one to the next. The way they've tried to move shape around on the head in this design has been quite unique, and it does look big. It looks pretty large. So it certainly does inspire a wee bit of confidence when you stood over it. The max. So again, carbon face, crown. It's a little bit longer front to back, shallower. Speed pocket. Slightly different weight configuration. This head offers the highest MOI out of all the heads in the Qi35 range. Subsequently, this means easy use is at its highest. If you're the type of player that sees strike location move around the face, then this is the head for you. Centre of gravity is lower than the standard head on this version. Subsequently, that's why you tend to see slightly higher ball flight, higher initial launch, higher peak height. Looking at TaylorMade's description of this driver, forgiveness is the highest out of the full range. Spin wise, it's saying it's a mid-spin driver. Launch is mid to high, so keep that in mind. Club weighting is standard, so that's talking about swing weight in there. And to be fair, LS, standard and max are all the same. Head shape is the max, the biggest max. And loft wise, you can get this in 9, 10.5 and 12 in left and right handed. Last but by no means least is the Max Light. This head is the lightest in the range, designed for players with slower spin speeds, trying to create more speed, more energy, more ball speed, more distance, and it's a lighter swing weight. Fundamentally, this is designed for maybe your older clientele, ladies, juniors, etc. Fundamentally, this head is very, very similar to the Max. The only difference is it's a lighter swing weight. So really very much geared to just to try and increase and enhance the speed that a given player can create. Usability in terms of MOI is very similar as well, so extremely usable even if players aren't hitting the middle of the face with this one. High MOI is going to really help non-centered strike locations. Last but not least, the light. Carbon face. You can see slightly different tone in terms of the head colouring. CD is just different on this guy, isn't it? A little bit easier to use. This fella get the ball up in the air. Speed pocket, frame looking good. But even that light is not a bad looking golf club, is it? Looking at TaylorMade specification, forgiveness is really high, spin is mid, so similar to the Max. Launch is high. So in this event, the only difference between the Max and the Max Light is the launch goes from mid-high from the Max to high to the Max Light. So that's interesting, something to keep in mind. If you're a player who launches the ball quite low, the Max Light could be a really, really useful tool for you. Club weight is ultra light, so basically what that means is the swing weight is lighter, meaning the player, any given player, can transport this club faster, can move it quicker and potentially create more speed, more energy and more distance. This is the Max 460cc head, so really spread out, big footprint, long front to back, elongated, really promoting that confidence in the player before they're even moving the club and taking it away. First up, we're going to go with the LS. I'm going to keep this on. This is the 9-degree LS head. I've got the 13 gram weight at the back, 2 lighter weights at the front. Let's get after this and give it a whack, see what happens. Let's get stuck in then. So, let's see what I can do with this. So this is the LS head. LS head, Kylie white. Give this a whack and see how we get on. So initial visuals on the floor, I mean that's a great looking golf head, that really is looking good. I think TaylorMade classed it as traditional, so definitely looks a little bit more rounded, less long, less boxy. Looks good looking head. Let's see what it performs like. Not my first one. Still feel a bit stiff. I've not hit loads of shots there to get warmed up with, so not a bad starting point. So put the optimizer on so we can kind of see the desired flight window. It's a little bit on the low side that, but I didn't feel like I was kind of like moving great there. So I'll try and kind of open up a bit more as I hit a few more shots here. Right, a bit quicker. Also much further left, so that's a dreadful shot. Low left, so you know, we've all got our crosses to bear, haven't we? This is definitely mine. Low and more to left. My bad shot is a left miss. So interested to see how this kind of continues to evolve here. Obviously much shorter carry on that occasion, much shorter total distance at 277. Right, speed's okay. A little bit high with the speed. So miles off it in terms of control though. So at this point it's not necessarily the head, that could be shaft, couldn't it? Shaft feels quite soft, so maybe just need something a little bit with a bit more weight in it perhaps, a bit firmer. Let's see if I can make this work here. Oh, that feels like it's miles right. Right, definitely right. 107 there, 158 ball speed. Didn't feel great if I'm honest with you. Like, strike was okay, but face was miles right in terms of kind of where the face is pointed. 272 carry, 295 overall. Let's see if we can kind of put some better swings on this, see if we can kind of control the ball flight away a bit better. Oh, that is left. Oh, Jesus. Oh, actually, no, better than I thought. I felt like it was like miles left there. Felt like I kind of closed it down a bit more there. Certainly do not feel like I've got good control over this. Now, in terms of why that might be me. Actually, flight's okay. If I hit it okay, it's maybe a little bit under the windows now. I've pulled that a little bit there, kind of turned it over a bit, so it's always going to flatten the ball flight out a wee bit there, isn't it? But it's not disastrous. 262 carry, so a little bit shorter than maybe it's normal. 293 total. Got a bit better, got it up and out the floor a bit better there. Yeah. So a wee bit more speed, straight didn't feel great there. 265 carry, 294 total. But I really like how it sits. My large issue is I don't have really a clue where it's going, which is a pretty large problem, isn't it? I'm a huge fan of that Golf Pride Z grip. It's also quite small, so when you try and clubs out, it can have quite a big influence. I've not got particularly big hands, but it feels really small in my hand there. And even when strike feels okay, speed's a little bit lower, isn't it? Ball speed's not great there. The head sits great. I would actually go as far to say this is one of the best heads I've seen for a long time in terms of aesthetics. This looks proper. This looks a really serious club. Sits great on the floor. I think for someone like me who struggles with a left miss, sits very square, maybe smidge open, you know, which to me is great. Control has been quite poor so far though. Launch conditions haven't been particularly great. I've just changed the shaft. I've changed from a Kyle white to a Tensei black. So let's have a few hits with this guy and see how we go with it. See if this kind of functionality is any better with this. Ideally, I want to see a wee bit better control. I want to start to see a little bit higher ball speeds, ideally, if I can. See what happens here. 158 ball speed there, 250 carry, 286 out. Kind of like hit like a bit of a smothery pulley draw there. Not great. So, but like I hit that okay, face is like a bit open, a bit up the right wing. You can actually see it like hit the flight window okay there. Speed's a bit slower than maybe it's a bit normal. Not that I'm like much higher than that, to be fair. 158 ball speed if we round it up. Launch conditions are okay. 147 smash, so I'm leaking a bit of energy there, aren't I? 269 carry, 293 overall. Felt like I actually hit that pretty good there, and it didn't actually feel that quick off the face, which is interesting compared to maybe a couple of other things I've tried this week. That's got to be right. Whew, man, struggle to control that. Club and ball speed were a little bit lower than what I'd like to see. Smash wasn't optimised, and overall ball flight control was not great at all. It was quite low, it was quite erratic, really changeable trajectories, really changeable directional control. I'm going to take the LS out now, and we're going to put the standard head in now. So initial look at the LS, did it okay. Sensing of strike was pretty decent. Maybe a smidge low and a smidge in the toe. Didn't feel that quick off the face, if truth be told. Control was not great. Changed shaft halfway through there, so changed from Qi to Tensei Black. Maybe it's helped a little bit, but I didn't hit that particularly great. I don't think that's probably the right head for me, from being totally honest with you. I don't swing it as quick as I used to be fair. So, you know, in a different time, I probably warranted using an LS head. I don't think I probably do now. I'm probably a really good test subject. My speed is dropping. I share the pattern of a normal golfer, really. So, probably a good test subject here. So let's try this standard head in the Qi35, and let's see if there's any better. I'm going to keep the Tensei Black in and see how this functions. Right. So standard head. And a couple of practice swings, definitely a different footprint. This looks quite different. Oof. Looks quite different in terms of much longer back to front. Definitely looks shallower. Interesting to see how this guy works out here. So this is the 9-degree head, standard lofts on the sleeve. Let's see if I can actually get this working a bit better than that last one, because that last one wasn't so good. All right, so 107 club, 157 ball speed. Don't feel like I can really move this club, if I'm being totally honest with you. So a couple of rights to start with. I suppose a wee bit more consistency. I've at least seen it go less to the left, so potentially a good thing for me. However, control's still not amazing with this, is it? So still under the flight window, still in it a bit left. 106 club head there, 158 ball speed. Not so great really. I mean, that was a pretty poor strike. Wasn't a great swing that. Actually, functionality was pretty good with that, to be fair. Felt quite high toe, so you can see it's kind of geared. Launch quite high, geared a little bit to the left. Pretty good. It's interesting that felt like it was going to be way above the launch window, but it's not at all. 106 club, 155 ball speed. Not great this, I'm honest with you. 263 carry, 293 total. Okay, a little bit high club head speed, 108 there, 160 ball speed, first time hit 160 ball speed with this. 263 carry, 294 total. Really interesting that I'm still under the launch window there. I felt like I hit that pretty good there. Still a little bit on the low side, which is interesting, isn't it? Right head. Launch would suggest now it's still too low, so I was using the standard head 9-degree. I've gone to 10.5. I'm actually going to loft this down just a smidge, so I'm going to try and get the best of both worlds here, where I'll loft it down a little bit. So I'm on 9.75 there, but it's going to open the face a little bit for me as well. Guard against my left miss. Still got that Tensei Black in. At points I have fritted between drivers where 9 to 10.5 subject to low, organic launch conditions, so not uncommon, not strange for me to use something like this. So probably quite nice to see a bit of face as well from my end, from player perspective. Let's see if there's any better, get a bit better launch with this fella. Strike felt decent. I've definitely gone higher, it's in the window, 106. Launch conditions are a bit better on there. 269 carry, 294 total. So definitely a bit better launch conditions there. Still feel slow. Doesn't feel like it's really popping off the face, this. That's a pretty good shot. 106 club, 157 ball speed, in the launch window, just about. 267 carry, 296 total. Not gonna lie, this doesn't feel great. So that was 107 club, 156 ball speed, 270. 269.5 carry, 295 total. Just doesn't feel great, that, for me, truth be told. Club and ball speed were actually fractionally slower than the LS head, however total distance was longer, reason being that launch conditions were marginally better, and as a consequence that's why the golf ball was going further. Concerns still remained in terms of the ball flight being too low. Also, there was still a lot of variability in terms of trajectory and dispersion, while smash was lower than I'd ideally like to see. So that was the standard head, 10.5 head. I'm going to try it in the max now, see how we get on with this fella. We've got the max 9 degree in now. Let's try this out. This is obviously the highest MOI, designed to launch it a bit higher. Based on what I've seen so far, actually this might not be bad. I've put the 9 in to start with. We've got a 10.5 to try there if needs be. Based on how I've hit it so far, strike's been okay, it's not mega centered, so actually this might help. Hitting it a bit higher, looking at the launch windows, also might help. It's pretty good, this, to be fair, still. Certainly inspires confidence. It looks like it's a big old fella to hit here. I mean, bear in mind, I've just nearly missed that. That was dreadful. I suppose that's a good sign, isn't it? That was miles out of the toe, and I mean miles out of the toe there. That was a long way out the toe there. So 106 club, 152 ball, 162 carry, 285 total. Actually decent outcome, bearing in mind that it was a long way from the centre of that there. Really didn't feel like put a great swing on that at all there. I'm going to put a decent swing on that there. So in the window, 108 speed, 159 ball speed. Launch conditions a bit better there, around the 267 carry, 286 total. Gave me that though, I felt like I hit that pretty good. Probably a little bit shorter than what I'd like to see. I feel like I actually hit that pretty good there, 107 club speed, 158 ball speed. Launch conditions are pretty much in the window, pretty decent. 268 carry, 294 total. I think fundamentally compared to some of the drivers I've tried so far, I'm just not moving it as quick. Now, is that down to me? Is that down to the club? Interesting that, isn't it? I don't know. Right, 1.7 club, 5.9 ball speed, not great in terms of, turned it over a wee bit too much there. Launch windows, launch conditions were a bit low, but more because of kind of what I was doing with the face, close the face down. 263 carry, 294 total. Out of all of them, this potentially feels the best of. A decent shot that. A little bit under the window, a little bit flat, but actually pretty decent. 10, just shy of 109 ball speed, club speed, 150, 160 ball speed, isn't it? Felt good. 109 club, 160 ball, pretty decent. 276 carry, 300 total. Ideal, that really. So out of all of them, this feels like the guy that's the one that's going to be most functional for me. Feels strong, feels pretty stable, feels like I've got the best control with it. Feels like I'm getting a wee bit more speed. Functionality definitely looks the best with this, isn't it? So another decent shot there, club at just shy of 108, club ball speed at 158. Launch conditions are pretty good, so definitely launching it high with this driver, which is what we should be seeing. That's kind of what it said on the tin, really. Launch conditions are pretty good. That was a high launch and low spin, so it's going to be great in terms of rollout. That 275 carry, 300 total there. Pretty solid. In the window, so 109, 161 ball speed, 275, 295. Bit spinny that, wasn't it? But okay, a little bit high, a little bit floaty that one, but functional that, isn't it? So one more. If that was my miss on the course, I'd be more than happy with that, really. You know, me seeing the ball, maybe he's hitting a soft right. I'll take that all day long. Right, 108, 109 club speed, 161 ball speed. Launch is pretty much in the window, 274 carry, 296. So for me, out of all the ones we've tried, this max head 10-tier black shaft definitely had the best synergy in terms of head and shaft makeup. Best control, definitely helped me narrow the bandwidth of dispersion side to side, but also helped me get kind of top end distance out of the heads that I've tried today. The max head delivered the best results by quite a distance, delivering high club head speeds, high ball speeds, good control, hitting the flight window quite regularly. Side to side dispersion was tight, top to bottom dispersion was tight, and I hit it the furthest on average at 294. Right, just finished. So good try of the full range there. Aside from, I didn't try the max light. Realistically, the max light wasn't going to be the right head for me, really. So I kind of kept that aside, didn't try that. But I've tried the LS, tried the standard, and tried the max. So started with the LS. Generally speaking, like, love the look of it, but functionality wasn't great. Club head speed was a bit lower, ball speed was a bit lower, control wasn't as great, and just didn't feel as functional, really. Didn't really have, like, hit it all right, I guess, but it generally speaking felt like I hit it too low, didn't have great control over it, maybe wasn't maxing out my distance. Next up was the standard head. Club and ball speed was a little bit on the low side, control didn't feel great, still maybe a hair on the low side, carry total felt like lower than potentially it could have been, really. So to be honest, felt like a bit of a struggle trying this, really. So didn't really marry up for whatever reason, just didn't feel great. Didn't feel like I was maxing the distance out or really having like the control that I'd like to see on the golf course. Last but not least was the max. This is the head that I actually hit the best. So surprisingly, I didn't really think this would be a good head option for me, really, but the reality was it was really good and it was actually much more consistent. So this was the 9-degree head, standard loft sleeve, 10-tier black in there. Club and ball speed were much higher. Flight window looked way more consistent, carry was further, total was further, getting it up to 294 on average, and just had better control over it, less variation, trajectory was more consistent, side to side was more consistent, felt like I actually was getting a wee bit more response out of the golf ball, felt like I wasn't having to try as hard to move the club, wasn't trying, really forcing it to get the ball moving. Felt good, felt like a really good drive this, to be fair, and really easy to use. High level of functionality. I would feel confident using this on the golf course. So what is my summary of the TaylorMade Qi35 Driver? I love the look of this thing. I think this is potentially one of the best looking drivers that's been brought out for a long time. The LS, the smaller shape, looks absolutely fantastic. Even the slightly bigger, longer, elongated footprint of the standard and the max still sit great. Actually really usable, sit good, more than comfortable using something like that. The sad reality for me, and I'm almost gutted to say this because of how good it looks, is for me it just didn't feel great, and I don't know what it was. It's just me. I don't know whether it's the carbon face. I don't know. It just didn't feel hot. It didn't feel fast. And for me in a driver, I did eventually get to a specification where actually I got good usability out of it. Actually, functionality was pretty decent. Got okay club speed, okay ball speed, carry was okay, total was okay, control was okay, but it just didn't feel great. My concern with this club this year for the Qi35 is I fear this driver may come up against similar, if not lower price point drivers that might outperform it. It's not cookie cutter, and just because I've experienced this doesn't make this a bad club. But I am really gutted that I've just not hit this amazing. I've hit it okay, I've hit it pretty decent, but I was really expecting big things. I've been underwhelmed by previous generations of TaylorMade driver of late in the last few years. This, for me, does perform better than that, no question about it. I'm just still a little bit disappointed in terms of the outcomes that we've been seeing there. I was hoping it was going to be a wee bit more gains than what I've maybe experienced, and I feel really gutted that we've not quite got there. But just because I haven't experienced the gains that I was hoping for doesn't mean that you won't. Thank you so much for watching the video today, guys. It's been a real pleasure to have you with us during the video. We hope you found this video of value. Ultimately, we've just tried to give you a really in-depth, objective review of this driver. If you've got any more questions or queries, don't hesitate to fire them over, and be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. More great information coming soon, guys. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon.